Our third and final presenter, let me please welcome Vycom to the stage.
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I the only one that thinks we're going to see these guys on 60 Minutes someday? Absolutely impressive guys, Coat Plastics as well. We're honored to be up here with the two of you to talk about our application. My name is Chris Paz. I'm with Vycom. This is Maria Knapp, our marketing manager. We have a unique application to talk to you about today. We're going to start by just going through a couple quick slides to introduce ourselves for those of you that don't know who our company is. We're part of CPG International. We were founded in 1983 in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and we're an olefin and PVC sheet manufacturer. We have several different divisions, AZEK and TimberTech on the residential building product side. We also have Scranton Products, commercial partitions and lockers. And then our group that we're talking about today, part of IAPD, is Vycom. 7 different product families, various applications. As you can see, we market to the end-use segment. Celtec is the specific product we're going to discuss today. It's a sign and graphics material. It's a foam PVC product. And I'd like to introduce Maria now to talk about the specific application.
Hello, everyone. So our 2 visiting lecturers at Harvard presented their students with a design challenge. And that design challenge was how to merge modern city architecture with greenscapes that really engage the public. In the project that uses design to bring ecology to the concrete jungle, they turned to Vycom Celtec material. Vycom Celtec material consists of an expanded PVC and solid PVC primarily used in the sign and digital graphics industry. But due to the material's ease of workability with cutting and routing and its aesthetics, our distributor partners felt like it was the perfect material for the application. The design partners are part of a relatively new movement in design to rethink cities and city planning away from the isolated fields of architecture or civil engineering, and instead create sculptures that consider the landscape and ecology. Their thought process was to develop something that would consider the landscape and the environment instead of buildings and roads, in which the result has become a less sustainable design of living. And this really isolates it from the environment. To see how their new vision would work, the visiting lecturers worked closely with their students to create an example for the garden show in Toronto and also a semi-permanent installation in Toronto as well. They integrated moss into the mock walls, which introduced microecology and the way of creatures depending on the moss. On the same structure, they placed plants in the shade and some in the sun, and were able to accommodate moss with very different growing requirements. So essentially, they created a microclimate in the same structure. These ideas could then be applied to buildings with vertical greenscapes. And to really drive home the thought about plastic being sustainable, we really felt that this story was very important to bring forward because we wanted to educate the use of plastics in a sustainable atmosphere. With the use of Celtec on this project provided the designers with a durable product that could withstand the weather conditions and harsh outdoor climates. Celtec is an extremely durable material and will never rust or corrode, therefore living the life cycle of the product. Celtec and other plastic materials really provide sustainable products with long life cycles. And Celtec was also able to provide a natural environment within all of the atmosphere that will provide for years to come.
What really excited us about this application in general, there's a lot of people in this room in IAPD working hard to promote plastics from an environmental standpoint and sustainability. The design team looked at various products, wood, metal, many of the traditional materials, and they chose plastic, in this case a PVC, due to the sustainability and the aesthetics as well. So from that standpoint, we were very excited that they chose the material, and I think it's a good message for the industry in general. You're tying an environmental project with plastic material. We're going to show a video here and then we'll take some questions at the end. So thank you.
David Ma and Leah Senio, visiting lecturers at the Harvard Graduate School of Design, presented their students with a design challenge: how to merge modern city architecture with greenscapes that engage the public. In a project that uses design to bring ecology to the concrete jungle, they turned to Vycom Celtec Ultra White as their platform for a compelling sculpture series. Celtec Ultra White is a solid PVC material designed for outdoor application where resistant to ultraviolet degradation and impact strength are critical, making it a perfect choice for Ma and Asieno's outdoor garden displays. The designs of Ma and Asieno, who have an international practice called Asieno Ma, were featured at the 2012 Garden Blooms Garden Show in Toronto and the Grand Matis International Garden Festival Show at Redford Gardens in Quebec. The Quebec installation, called Surface Deep, is an intricately carved garden wall that incorporated moss into the hollows. The Toronto design is a spiral, twisted planter featuring a diverse range of plants. The design partners are part of a relatively new movement in design to rethink cities and city planning, away from the isolated fields of architectural or civil engineering that consider the landscape and ecology into their design. Ma stressed that in the past, people who planned cities thought in terms of buildings and roads, not greenery in the environment. The result is a less sustainable model of living that isolates us from the environment. And Asieno added that by simply putting moss on roofs prevents heat and runoff from spilling into cities, so cities have a less destructive effect on the local environment. To see how these new ideas could work, the pair worked closely with their students to create an example for a garden show in Toronto and a semi-permanent installation. They integrated moss into the mock walls, which introduced microecology in the way of creatures depending on the moss. In the same structure, they placed plants in the shade and some in the sun, and they were able to accommodate moss with very different growing requirements. They essentially created microclimates in the same structure. For two frame sculptures called Surface Deep and Surface Deep 2, the designers needed a frame material that combined lightness, recyclability, a good finish, and the ability to withstand outside conditions. Freeman, a distributor near the Harvard School of Design, recommended Celtec Ultra White. Since many of their customers used it for outdoor signage, it seemed like a good fit that could stand up to the views the designers anticipated. Ma really appreciated the product's lightweight since the shop at Harvard School is in the basement and they were back and forth to Canada prior to the installation, so they needed transport costs to be low. At first the students were a bit uncertain. PVC? But Asieno says now that their students worked with it, they love it. She says Celtec was very easy to fabricate, from the card mills to the computer-controlled routers. It even responded well to more primitive methods they had to do afterwards, like sanding or shaving with a knife. And since Surface Deep had so many intricate designs and cuts, a material that was difficult to work with would have been really frustrating. Ma says the students at Harvard School keep coming up to touch it, and the 4-year-olds at the public events as well. Children at the garden shows in both Toronto and Quebec were drawn to it. Both Ma and Asieno had hoped to engage people with the notion that the sculptures are something they appreciate for their beauty and want to interact with. That's really the whole point of their design movement, to get urban areas to interact with ecologies, with the people that live within it, and with the larger environment. What's in the future for them? More installations, some of them reconfigured from the pieces they've already made. The designers were very pleased to discover that when they brought the Toronto sculpture back, it had not been damaged at all. All of their sculptures are specific to the installation, but that shouldn't mean they can't reuse parts that work well. Ma stated that Celtec stood up to being kicked around, which is very important, and they both agreed it cleaned up so well. It came back from Toronto very dirty, but they cleaned it up and it looks brand new. The designers don't even know when the Quebec installation will come down. It was intended to last a single year, but it has lasted an extra year and may even still be up for a few more. The designers agree that the Celtec material has really showcased a new way of thinking about structures, one that doesn't choose between the sustainable, the beautiful, or the durable. They can now bring all three together.
Great voiceover, right? Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? All right, thanks a lot for your time, everyone, and we're very honored to be part of the presentation today.